What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about how to tap into your inner INFJ badass, how to turn your vision into reality. This is going to be a 2-video series. Today we're talking about how to set that vision. We as INFJs have very particular cognitive functions. We have weaknesses, we have gifts, and it's about time that we talk about a strategy that is tailored to INFJs, which will help us to bring that elusive feeling of, okay, I have a hunch that I'm not living my potential yet. How we can bring that to a real vision that we can hold on to and that will guide us into the right direction. And then in the next video, we're going to talk about how to take that action that will lead you towards that vision. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you want my help with this process, then work with me privately or join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. We have a waiting list and you find all the information below. We as INFJs are well known to be cerebral beings. We're also well known for living in our mind, for having visions, for having this thing of, okay, I know how this is going to turn out, or I know if I take these 2 steps where my path is going to lead me. But the truth is that we very seldom can really say, okay, I see myself in 5 years living in that place, working this particular job, or having that kind of business. I want 2.5 kids. I know exactly how my partner is going to look like, how they're going to act. All of this is very elusive to a lot of us. We don't want to do that because we dislike details. What we do know though is that there's this hunch, there's this feeling of, okay, I know that this is the right direction for me, or this kind of confrontation forces me to tap into a deep part of myself that will help me to move forward. And what I have found throughout the years, that specifically for us INFJs who have such a connection to how something feels like, what kind of emotion it evokes in us, we have to become very specific what things might evoke those emotions in us, because we're not going to be motivated by something on paper. We're not going to be motivated by having a nice house, having a nice job, people looking at this and saying, oh wow, you've made it. None of that. The thing that actually inspires an INFJ is the feeling that comes with it. How you're going to feel once you wake up in the morning and you drink your coffee in your new place where you have ceiling high windows, you look at the beach, you enjoy a slow morning where you have no obligations, and so much more. We can use this to our advantage because the things we're doing in the long term, the things that stay consistent with us, aren't the things that are based on logic. It's the things that make us feel good, because then everything happens on autopilot. We know what's going to evoke a positive emotion in us, and therefore we do it without even thinking about it. So how do we create that emotion? Well, it's not going to happen by just defining something as, okay, I want to be making 25% more income than I'm doing right now. I want to have a place where I have 1 more room. No, we want it to feel real. Once you create something that you can hold on to, it becomes so much easier to take the steps. So what am I talking about? Well, imagine yourself saying, I want to make 25% more income. What for? What do you want to do with that income? Maybe it's saying, I want to have a place near the beach. I want to have a walk-in closet. I want to be able to drive that car. And the more we start figuring these things out, we're willing and able to take steps that make that happen. If you imagine yourself living that way and that's where you want to go to, you're not going to be satisfied with a job where everybody is disrespectful towards you, where you're being paid a little amount of money that will never get you to that position. But if you don't define that, you're always going to stay at that place. And this goes for absolutely everything in your life. Let's talk relationships. If you don't define for yourself what you want, you're going to spend time with people who don't see a future with you, where it's all about, okay, let's just see how things go. Or let's say you're married and you wish to have meaningful conversations with your partner. If you don't define this, you're going to be okay with how things are. You're not going to do the things that are necessary to change that dynamic. And at the same time, you will grow more and more resentment. We don't want that. So this goes for relationship. It goes for your health. It goes for what you want to experience in your social life. And of course, it goes for your career, your vocation, and all the things that are important for us INFJs. We have to define them and then feel them. How do you do that? Okay, so let's define what you want. In 3 years from now, what can you already put into words? For example, saying, I want a place that has one more room, that has a walk-in closet. Just an easy example. The thing to do is to then go on the internet and to look for apartments. You have to know, first off, how that apartment is going to look like. It might not be that exact apartment, but you need to know what thing excites you. Maybe you see a lot of places that just don't trigger that emotion in you that makes you feel, here it's peaceful. You don't look with a filter of what I can afford. You don't look at a filter of this is close to my house. You look at exactly what you want from your current perspective, as in what you already know. Maybe you didn't know that you wanted a place with a walk-in closet, but there's certain things you do know. And then once you see that place, you start imagining yourself in that place. You imagine how your life is going to be. It's never about getting that one job. It's about creating that life where this job or this vocation is part of it all. So you look at that place, you imagine yourself in it. You see how much it costs, and then you say, okay, if I'm going to make that kind of money in order to be able to afford that place, then what kind of job, what kind of business, what kind of way of creating income would I need to have to make that happen? See, it's a completely different question than saying, this is what I'm currently able to do. What place can I afford with this? Your mind is triggered to think in a different sphere. And we as INFJs can use that to our advantage because our mind can expand so much. It's not about having thousands of options. We like to have one option, but that option is broad. It's about feeling it. It's about experiencing it. So once you start creating that and you say, this is the kind of atmosphere that I feel comfortable with. That is the thing that makes me happy thinking about it. And you'll find your unique point. It's about increasing what kind of level of abundance you think you deserve. And you'll see what you're looking at will already define what the next step is. I'm not looking at places that cost $50 million because that's not the next step for me. I haven't even thought about that. But somebody who's living in a place that, let's say, $25 million is going to look at that $50 million, and that will help them to create their next bigger vision. I use that example on purpose because it might seem ludicrous like to think of these numbers, but it's the same way if you look at a place that costs $500, $1,000, $10,000, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's about what inspires you. What is the next place that makes you feel secure, that makes you feel like you can grow, and that is a representation of how your everyday could look like. So I know I always like to think about, okay, I want to go on that vacation and I want to experience this thing one time. Yeah, that's great. But what helps us INFJs even more is if we know how our everyday should feel like. So it's about finding what kind of place would I live in? How would I furnish it? What kind of car would I be driving? Go and do the test drive in this car. Maybe you figure out that's not actually the car I want. Maybe that's too big for me. Oh, it's way too expensive in comparison with what this will bring to me. I'd rather invest more money into a great place, into a great apartment or house, than spend it on that car. Or vice versa. Maybe you figure out I don't want to be spending money on computers. I want to spend it on clothes. It doesn't matter. The point is that you understand more and more what would help you increase your abundance. And unless you're actually looking at those specific things, you're not going to get inspired. It will stay this hunch in your mind. It will stay this elusive feeling. And as long as it's an elusive feeling, it will not be a vision that you can walk towards. We as INFJs are impressionable people. Impressionable in a way we can absorb other people's emotions. Impressionable in when I listen to that motivational CD, it can really trigger something big in me. It can make me do things. And this kind of quality is something we have to use to our advantage. We have to actively rewire our mind and set it towards a vision that inspires us to take action, that actually tells us if I want to get there, what are the steps towards that? And that will tell you that continuing with the current job right now, it will never help you to get to the next step because it's a dead-end job. It's not the right thing to stay with that partner who holds us back from the next next step because they're never going to be able to grow that step with us. So many of those things we already know, but we stay in those situations. On the other hand, certain friends are going to be there to support you throughout that journey. A life with them makes sense when you go into that direction. But maybe you have friends that won't be able to go on that journey with you. And you're always in this debate, who do you want to spend more time with? You set that vision for yourself and you have to define it. So get that help by defining more and more what you already know. It doesn't mean that in the end it has to be that apartment or that car. It's the emotion that you currently attach to that car. It's that emotion that you currently attach to your everyday life. The same thing goes for the job you want to have. Do you want to be in an environment where you're left alone, where you can work by yourself? Or is it an environment where you work with a group, where people are getting inspired by you? Is it that you want to lead a group? Or is it that you want to explore things by yourself where you have the freedom and the respect to do that? Take your time and define those things and redefine them. That's why I'm such a big fan of guided meditation that is based on vision, or on writing your vision out every single day. Every single time you confront yourself with these thoughts of how your vision is going to look like, how you're going to feel that day, how you wake up, you drink your coffee, you're full of peace, you're full of security, you feel totally relaxed and excited about the next day, and in a way that makes you feel alive, in a way that makes you feel excited. That's what we want to get to. And you might say, no matter what I think about, nothing excites me. This is a muscle we have to train. So the more you start looking at apartments, the more you're going to figure out, okay, from these 100 apartments, these 3 are the ones that excite me. They're at a point where I'm saying, okay, this is some place where I can imagine myself as a next step. This isn't too big or too small for me. It's the kind of environment that is in alignment with who I want to be. So when I'm in that apartment, what do I do in the morning? Where do I work? Do I work from home? How is my commute? How is my whole day going to look like? It's never about getting that one job. It's never about convincing that one person in the coffee shop to go out with you, although that person never has any interest. It's not about that certain person, that certain job, or that certain place. It's about defining what is going to make you feel great and then allowing these things to come into your life that will make that happen. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to take those specific actions to make that happen. I've worked with so many INFJs throughout the years, and this is always an aspect that surprises most of them. Well, I've never thought about that. I've never looked at apartments that I could have in the future. I never decided where I wanted to live, if I wanted to live somewhere warm or somewhere where I have all 4 seasons. We have to actually ask ourselves, what do I prefer? What is possible? And we approach life with an open vessel. This is a completely different scenario than to saying, okay, this is where I'm at right now. What is the next step I have to take? What's the thing that's going to help me to survive, to keep my head above water? What is the thing that I can afford? And it doesn't matter at what level you think you are at. I've experienced millionaires with the mindset of, that's all I can afford. And I have experienced people who live in such an abundant way, although they have 100 times less. It doesn't matter. It's about growing. And it's about experiencing life at the highest level possible starting today. It's not about doing so many things, working our butt off, and then at some point, if we're lucky, we get to experience some fun. If you do that, it's always going to happen in the future. We want it to happen today. We want it to start happening today. So once you have that vision, it helps you to go on a path where you not only have a vision, but where you get to enjoy every single step in the process. Do that research, get inspired by what exists, project your positive emotions on these things, make them concrete, make them tangible. That will help you so much to make your vision to something that you can hold on to, something that inspires you every day, and something that excites you. We want that excitement. We don't want it to be a task. We don't want it to be something that doesn't invoke any kind of emotions in us. That's not what we're here for on this earth. We're here to experience life to the fullest. So do yourself a favor, use the fact that you're an INFJ, work with your personal gifts, with your personal preferences, with your cognitive functions, with the fact that you are an impressionable being. Impress those visions into your mind and make them your best friend that's always at your side. Remember, we're going to talk about how to take action to make that happen in the next video. If you want my personal help in this process, then work with me privately or join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. We're going to have a payment plan this time. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on INFJ Phoenix Rising from the Ashes. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week. I talk to you next time. Bye.